Most people move through life with a quiet ache they can't quite explain. They wake up tired, drift through their days overwhelmed, and go to bed with that nagging question, is this all there is? It's not a lack of effort. It's not laziness or apathy. It's the absence of something deeper, a compass, a sense of direction when life gets noisy and chaotic. And that's exactly where Stoicism comes in, not as a dusty philosophy, but as a way of life grounded in four timeless virtues: courage, discipline, justice, and wisdom. These aren't just lofty ideas. They're practical tools, anchors for a life of clarity, strength, and resilience. Courage moves you when fear says freeze. Discipline keeps you steady when motivation disappears. Justice gives your strength meaning. And wisdom cuts through the noise and brings everything into focus. So if you've been feeling unmoored, like you're just reacting instead of leading, this is your invitation to something better. And if you're finding value in this space we're building together, I'll ask one simple favor. Hit the subscribe button. It's free, but it makes a real difference. Let's begin where every transformation starts, with courage, because the more you reflect on it, the more you realize everything hinges on this one word. And courage. It's not always loud. It's not just for the battlefield or the spotlight. It's found in the quiet, uncomfortable moments no one ever sees. It's the courage to be honest in a world addicted to pretending. The courage to forgive someone who isn't even sorry. The courage to leave what's familiar, even when it feels safe. And most of all, it takes courage to be yourself, especially when yourself doesn't fit the mold. Carl Jung said it best. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But what he didn't say outright is how terrifying that can feel, because the moment's, or ending a relationship, or moving across the country, or telling someone how you really feel, you know you need to jump, but your legs won't move. This is the moment where most people shrink. They turn around, they walk back to the comfort zone, and they call it logic. But the Stoic path? It asks for more. It asks you to jump with fear still in your chest. It asks you to trust that your wings will grow on the way down. Because here's the paradox. You don't build courage by thinking about it. You build courage by using it. Every time you push past the fear, even a little, you send yourself a message. I can do hard things. And that message rewires you. It becomes your inner voice. Not the one that says, what if you fail? But the one that says, what if this changes everything? Socrates once said, the unexamined life is not worth living. I'd add to that, the unlived life isn't either. And a life lived in fear isn't truly lived. It's delayed, postponed, watered down. Let's break it down into something you can actually do. Don't try to conquer fear all at once. Start tiny. Send the email. Sign up for the class. Speak the truth in one conversation. Just one uncomfortable action per day. That's it. Nothing fancy. One small moment where you feel the fear and do it anyway. Stack those day after day and watch what happens. You begin to feel lighter, stronger, like someone you trust. Here's the magic. Fear doesn't disappear, but your relationship to it changes. It becomes familiar, like background noise. You feel it, nod at it, and move anyway. That's what courage looks like. Not loud, not flashy, just steady. Plato taught that courage is knowing what not to fear. That's so important. Most of us are afraid of the wrong things. We're afraid of what they'll think of us, of looking stupid, of getting rejected. But we're not afraid enough of staying stuck, of losing years to hesitation, of becoming strangers to our own potential. Let that sink in. We fear failure more than we fear wasting our life. Let me ask you something straight up. What would you do if you weren't scared? What would you chase? What would you change? Who would you be? That version of you, it's not a fantasy. It's just on the other side of a choice. One choice. And you can make it right now. But here's the thing, and this is where we transition. Courage gets you started, but it doesn't carry you through. You can be bold today and still fall off tomorrow. You can face your fear in the moment and still fall back into old patterns next week. That's where the next Stoic virtue comes in. You've had your moment of bravery. You said the thing. You showed up. But now, can you stay the course? Can you keep showing up when no one's watching? Can you choose progress over comfort, not just once, but over and over again? That's not courage anymore. That's discipline. Here's the thing nobody tells you about discipline. It's not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't get likes or retweets. It happens in quiet places, behind closed doors, early in the morning, late at night, when no one's watching and no one will ever know. It's built in those tiny, invisible moments where you make a choice, comfort or growth, rest or reps, delay or do. And most people don't even realize those moments are choices, but they are. Every time you hit snooze, every time you quit early, every time you do it later, you're training something. You're building habits whether you mean to or not. And the scary part? Your brain keeps score. As Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Discipline makes you conscious, aware. It shines a light on the quiet deals you make with yourself, and it dares you to stop breaking them. The Stoics knew this centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, most powerful man in the world, still had to drag himself out of bed in the morning. One of his most famous passages in Meditations is literally him giving himself a pep talk. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. That's not weakness. That's the truth. The man had everything, power, luxury, control, and still had to fight the same internal war we do. Because discipline isn't about having it all together. It's about choosing to show up, even when everything in you says don't. You ever noticed how easy it is to make promises to other people, and how hard it is to keep the ones you make to yourself? Why is that? Why is it so hard to write that page a day, or commit to eating clean for a week, or finally start that course you keep talking about? It's because self-discipline is the highest form of respect, and most people have never learned how to respect themselves in action, not just theory. But every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, your self-respect grows, slowly, steadily, quietly. And eventually, you start seeing yourself as the kind of person who follows through. You trust yourself. That's rare. That's real power. Here's something to consider. Discipline is love, but not the soft, romanticized kind. It's the tough, boundary-setting, structure-giving kind. It's the voice that says, I care too much about you to let you sabotage yourself again. It's the version of you that refuses to keep repeating the same story. It's not about punishment. It's about freedom. Think about that for a second. Discipline creates freedom. When you build discipline around your money, you don't panic when the car breaks down. When you build discipline around your schedule, you have time to think, create, breathe. When you build discipline around your health, you don't need to fear every new diagnosis or trend. Discipline takes the chaos of life and builds a rhythm out of it, a beat, a groove, something you can move to, something that holds you steady when everything else feels out of control. Plato once said, "The first and best victory is to conquer self. To be conquered by self is of all things the most shameful and vile." And that's a harsh truth, but an honest one. If you can't lead yourself, how can you expect to lead anything else? Your team, your family, your future. It all flows from your ability to govern your own actions. That's why the Stoics didn't just sit around in togas thinking about virtue. They trained. They walked through storms barefoot. They fasted. They exposed themselves to discomfort on purpose, not to suffer, not to show off, but to prove to themselves that they were stronger than circumstance, that their comfort wasn't their master. What about us? Maybe we don't walk barefoot through Rome, but we do live in a world of cheap dopamine, easy excuses, constant distraction, and in that world, even 5 minutes of focused effort is rebellion. 1 hour of deep work is a revolution. Hitting the gym instead of hitting snooze is a declaration of war against every lazy part of you. And that's what discipline really is. It's not about rigid control. It's about taking back your power, bit by bit, action by action, habit by habit. You don't have to overhaul your life today. That's a trap. Just win the next moment. Make the right choice once, then do it again. That's all discipline is. Even Socrates, the wisest man in Athens, knew the value of effort. He said, "No man has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable." It's not about vanity, it's about potential. What else are you leaving on the table because you won't stick with something long enough to see what's possible? Let me ask you this. What could your life look like 90 days from now if you kept just one promise to yourself daily for 90 days? Doesn't need to be big, just consistent. Could be journaling, could be cold showers, could be no social media before 10 a.m. Whatever it is, own it. Make it sacred. And if you fall off, cool, get back on. That's part of the training too. Because discipline doesn't demand perfection, it just demands your effort every day, even on the hard days, especially on the hard days. So start small. Today, pick one thing, just one. Lock it in, 7 days, then stretch it to 10, then a month. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to become someone who doesn't break promises to themselves anymore. And when you build that version of you, there's no storm you can't weather, no goal you can't outlast, no challenge that can steal your soul. That's not hype. That's fact. That's what the Stoics knew. That's what modern psychology confirms. And that's what discipline delivers. Now, if discipline gives you strength, the next question is, what will you do with that strength? Because power without purpose is just ego, and self-mastery without service, that's just selfishness dressed up in a hoodie. We live in a time where everyone has an opinion, loud, constant, and often conflicting. Social media's a battlefield of beliefs. News cycles twist stories into anxiety fuel. Even close friends and family can see the same event from completely opposite lenses. And in the middle of all that noise, you're just trying to figure out what's right. That's why justice, as the Stoics saw it, was so powerful. It's not a checklist, it's a compass, a guide that helps you navigate through the gray areas of life with integrity. Marcus Aurelius wrote again and again about being a citizen of the world and not acting for personal gain, but for the common good. And he didn't just say it, he lived it every day as an emperor burdened with more power than most of us could imagine. But here's what people don't always get. Justice isn't just about others. It's also about being just to yourself. That means treating your body with respect. It means not lying to yourself to avoid short-term discomfort. It means holding yourself to a standard, not perfection, but principled action. It's taking responsibility for your impact, even in the smallest interactions. Let's bring it into everyday life. Let's say you're in a team meeting. A colleague gets talked over. Again, you notice it. Everyone notices it. That moment of awkward silence fills the room. Most people stay quiet, but inside, your gut clenches. You know something just happened that shouldn't have. Now you don't have to make a dramatic speech. Justice might just mean circling back to that person after the meeting, letting them know you saw it, and giving them the floor next time. Small act, big weight. Or think about when someone sends you a cruel text or spreads gossip. You could jump in, add fuel, or you could stop it right there. Not with moral superiority, but with calm clarity. Like Epictetus said, "It is not he who reviles or strikes you who insults you, but your opinion that these things are insulting." Stoicism teaches us to choose our response with care. Justice doesn't scream. It doesn't posture. It simply does the right thing, quietly, consistently, with strength. And when people say, "Well, why should I do the right thing if no one else is?" That's the exact moment where virtue either lives or dies. Justice isn't transactional. You don't do it because of what you'll get. You do it because of who you become. Aristotle said, "The worst form of inequality is to try to make unequal things equal." And in today's world, where convenience often trumps principle, justice might look like going against the grain, saying no when everyone else is saying yes, staying honest when it would be easier not to be, refusing to cut corners, even when no one's watching. Because when you do that, you become someone you can trust, someone others can rely on. There's also this deep misconception that justice is soft, that it's for the idealists. But real justice requires immense strength. It takes courage to step in, discipline to follow through, wisdom to know how. The Stoic virtues all work together. You can't live just one of them in isolation. If your discipline only serves yourself and your courage is directed without ethics, then what's the point? Carl Jung once observed, "The world will ask you who you are, and if you don't know, the world will tell you." Justice is part of how you answer that question. It's how you build a moral identity that isn't swayed by trends or opinions. You don't wait for someone to validate your values. You become the example of those values. Think about the people you admire most. Really think about them. Chances are they weren't just smart or talented. They were fair. They stood for something. They helped others even when it didn't benefit them. That's the power of justice. It echoes. One act can inspire 10 more. Now let's zoom out. Let's say you spend months building discipline. You've mastered your routines. You've silenced your fear. You've even started stepping up for others. But then a moment comes, one you didn't see coming, a moral fork in the road, and suddenly all the certainty fades. This is where justice hands the baton to wisdom, because life won't always give you clean, black and white answers. Sometimes justice and practicality pull in different directions. Sometimes your principles get tested by messy realities. You won't always know what to do. So how do you see clearly when everything feels blurry? That's where wisdom steps in, the virtue that ties it all together, the one that helps you not just act, but act well. And that's what we're diving into next. The virtue that lets you cut through the noise. Sometimes the hardest thing isn't knowing what to do, it's knowing what to pay attention to. Life throws so much at us. News alerts, social media scrolls. Everybody's got an opinion, and somehow they all sound urgent. But not everything urgent is important, and not everything loud is true. That's where wisdom comes in. It's the quiet force that helps you separate the signal from the noise. Wisdom doesn't shout. It listens. It doesn't react. It reflects. It gives you that crucial pause between stimulus and response. That little space where you can choose your next move instead of just getting yanked around by emotion or impulse. As Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. And when you really live by that, you start to see things for what they are, not just how they feel in the moment. Stoicism isn't about being cold or emotionless. It's about not letting your emotions drive the car. Emotions are passengers. They can ride, but they don't get the wheel. Wisdom is the one who should be driving, and it doesn't always know the exact destination, but it knows how to read the map. It knows when to speed up, when to slow down, and most importantly, when to stop and reassess. Right now, everything's moving fast. Attention spans are shrinking. People scroll through opinions like they're disposable. But wisdom isn't fast food. It's slow cooking. It's showing up every day, reading a little, writing a little, thinking a lot. It's learning through trial and error, falling down, asking why, then trying again with more understanding. Carl Jung said, "Wisdom begins when you stop blaming others for your troubles." That's not just a line, that's a life shift. When you stop outsourcing your peace, your clarity gets sharper. And let's not kid ourselves. Wisdom is rare because it's hard. It requires humility. The kind of humility that says, I don't know everything. In fact, I probably know very little, but I'm willing to keep learning. Socrates, who we often think of as the smartest man of his time, was famous for saying, I know that I know nothing. That wasn't defeatist, it was powerful. Because when you admit you don't have all the answers, you become someone who can actually find them. Plato believed that wisdom was tied to the soul's ability to see the truth, even when it's hidden beneath layers of distraction and deception. In a world full of filters, literal and metaphorical, that's more relevant than ever. How often do we mistake popularity for credibility, loudness for insight, a hot take for a hard truth? Wisdom cuts through that. It's the internal compass that doesn't sway with the trends. It doesn't care about the algorithm. It's rooted in reality, grounded in values, and it's patient. Unlike the instant gratification of modern life, wisdom plays the long game. It's not about winning arguments, it's about understanding people, including yourself. Think of it like this. You're driving through a storm. The road is slick. The view ahead is blurry. You can't stop the rain. That's life. But what you can do is turn on the wipers. That's wisdom. It doesn't erase the problems. It just helps you see clearly enough to navigate them. It reduces the panic, increases your chances of moving forward without crashing. So how do you train wisdom? You don't download it, you practice it. One of the best tools, journaling. Yeah, I know it sounds basic, but it's powerful. At the end of the day, take 5 minutes. Ask yourself, what did I learn today? What did I do well? Where did I mess up? What would a wiser version of me do next time? That kind of self-inquiry sharpens your thinking. It brings awareness to patterns, and it forces you to pause, reflect, and grow. And you don't need to write a novel. 1 page is enough, even a paragraph. Wisdom builds slowly, but it builds strong. As Aristotle said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Every time you reflect honestly, you're moving closer to that kind of knowledge. And that knowledge helps you navigate decisions, big and small, with more clarity and confidence. Let's be clear, wisdom isn't perfection. Wise people still make mistakes, but they learn faster, they spiral less, they recover with purpose because they've built that inner guide, they've sharpened their discernment. And over time, that becomes one of the most powerful assets you can have in this world. So here's the takeaway. Don't chase wisdom like it's a destination. Build it like it's a muscle. Read more. Reflect daily. Seek truth, even when it's uncomfortable. And be willing to change your mind when the facts change. That's not weakness. That's growth. And remember, This journey through the Stoic virtues, it doesn't end with wisdom. It's where everything comes together. Courage helps you step up. Discipline helps you stay the course. Justice tells you where to aim. And wisdom makes sure you don't miss. The world is chaotic, loud, uncertain. But you don't have to be. You have the tools now, courage to act, discipline to stay the path, justice to guide your impact, and wisdom to keep you clear. That's how you live a life you're proud of, one choice at a time. If this resonated with you, there's another video on the screen right now that'll take you deeper. Trust me, it's worth your time. Thank you for being part of Stoic Journal, a space for growth, clarity, and strength of character. We'll be here whenever you're ready to come back and keep building.